One of the most pleasant things that I can do is spend a day in the woods. And the best part of that day, for me anyway, is a campfire to boil my kettle, or just to sit and smell the wood smoke. But to the people of Bonavista North, back in the 60s, fire destroyed most of their timber stands. We went back to look at that land and fish for speckled trout. So through my camera, come along with me, and let's enjoy that most beautiful part of our province. My name is Lloyd Colburn, and welcome to Newfoundland Outdoors. The traveler to this peaceful area of the northeast coast is treated to quiet beaches and sheltered inland bays. This is a photographer's paradise, and someone once said that it is impossible to take a bad photograph in Newfoundland. You just close your eyes and point your camera and shoot. Well, that's a little oversimplification, but with the ever-changing landscape of shoreline and villages, there certainly is no shortage of subjects. The soul of Newfoundland is the sea, and almost all the people live with the ocean at their doorstep. Before the Great Fire, logging was a major source of income for the people along the shore. There is still a little done, but the great timber stands have almost all been wiped out. In the beaches are the relics of the old days, so we take a little time to film what is left of the old mills. The skills and traditions of boat building are alive and well. Many new boats are being built, even though this one is timbered with imported oak. Here at the wharf, just launched, is a new all-purpose vessel of the latest design. These boats have revolutionized our fishery. Let us now travel on down the shore to Indian Bay and explore the lakes that was once the watershed that was used to drive the sawlogs and pulpwood to the sea. It's a beautiful drive north on this new highway. It follows the landmarsh for miles, and the smell of the fresh ocean air is familiar and refreshing as it pours through our open window. This is Indian Bay. Once this community was a thriving woods operation, but now the people have formed a community improvement group and are promoting the recreational aspects of this area. They're setting up picnic sites, renting boats to trout fishermen, and looking for help to repair the old logging access roads. They have a restaurant and motel right at the mouth of a fine salmon river. The Great Fire has destroyed not only the forests, but has burnt away a lot of the topsoil, giving way to miles of barrens. The regrowth is blueberries, and this has provided an additional source of income to the people, not to mention an increase in the partridge population and other wildlife. Included is the black bear, which finds this area ideal. This old sow is full of berries and pays little attention to us. We now take a woods access road and head towards the lake. There are thousands of miles of these old woods roads on the island, and they are fast deteriorating to a point where that if something isn't done now, in a few years they'll be gone beyond repair. It'll cost a fortune to replace them. These access roads are the real problem. You now need a four-wheel drive to be sure not to get bogged down. And a few dollars spent now on bridges and on clearing back the persistent alders would go a long way, not to mention the needed jobs. This is the lake that we're going to fish for speckled trout. It's a perfect day, so we're eager to get started.
Okay.
Here at the side of the lake, there's a sign of a more recent fire. Carelessness is the main cause of these fires. You can never be too careful with a campfire. We park our vehicle and load our canoe. I use an 18-foot freighter. It can carry 2 men and their camping gear, as well as a lot of camera and sound equipment with absolute safety. We carry a cooler with ice because trout go soft very quickly in the warm summer sun. I like to use a light floater vest while fishing. It's designed with pockets and gives you free arm movement. It's great for fishing and paddling. I like to camp on a small island in the summertime. There are less flies, and the bears can't get at your camp. Last fall, the bears gave us a lot of problems by knocking our tent down and making a real mess of things. These waters were once backed up by a series of dams, and many of the small islands were underwater. The dams are all out now, and the water level is down. The timber on most of the flooded land was cut and salvaged before the flooding, and now the shoreline and islands are strewn with dry dead stumps. We call our island Stump Island. Now it's down to setting up camp before getting lunch. It's a lovely little island, ideal for a campsite. It's flat, lots of firewood, and not too far offshore. And the fishing should be good in the tickle between the island and the land. The first thing I do when I go in the woods is make camp and get in some dry wood. The weather in Newfoundland can change very quickly, and it's nice to come back to a nice dry camp, especially when you're soaked to the skin and darkness is closing in. It's a lot better to get your camp up in the sunshine. Rice spiders, them stumps are great things. You can use them for tying off the tent, and then you can burn them after dark, so you can get a fire going.
Oh yes, I'm gonna have some fire too this evening when I get around to it. It's one of them stumps.
Yes, you're known for your campfires, Bryce. There's no doubt about that. Plenty of stumps around, Bryce.
Yes, sir. I'll give you a hand now to bring the rest of that up now. Just hang on for a second. I'll get you straightened away up here.
I'm going to do more than bring this up, Bryce. We're going to have something to eat now before we goes out.
Yeah, well, I got some stuff to cook up. Or what are you going to, for trout or what?
Yeah, I'm going to get a trout by. You get the fire going now. I go see if I can get a couple of trout for dinner.
Yeah, okay then. Good enough. I'll get the fire going and get the kettle on. Bryce will never know I lost this one. Well, if there's one here, there's more. This one is not there alone. Well, it's always the big one, or the one you need to eat, that gets away. There'll be no trout for lunch today. You get her one at all?
I had a couple by and lost them.
Yes, I imagine.
I had all two nice ones. Lost them. Got nothing for dinner now, I suppose.
Oh no, we got something for dinner already.
Can of beans, I dare say.
Yellow beans. No bite. I brought up a bit of meat just in case you didn't get anything.
Meat? You don't bring meat on a fishing trip, Bryce. We're supposed to be eating trout.
You do when you're not sure you're going to get trout or not.
Yeah, well, we'll get trout, Bryce. We'll get trout.
Yeah, but it's too early in the day yet.
Well, there's some fish out there. Yeah. Throw the line there and grab it all right away.
Is that right?
Yes, Bryce. I think it's
What are you using?
I'm using a little spinner in that time. My jumping old man, that looks good, that what you got down there.
Don't think it's not tasty either. I'm after taking a couple of tastes on it already. Yeah, what are you going to do? What are you going to do now? Putting on what's the boy lotion this time of the day?
Boy, you got to be prepared.
What's that, sir? You got enough whisker there. They'll never get even bite through that anyway, sir, in 1,000 years.
What are you doing there? Making a salad?
Yes, I brought up some lettuce and some tomatoes, and I even got a cucumber here.
Well, that's it. If anybody ever finds this out, we'll be laughing right out of St. John's. Looks good, though, boy, I must say.
You won't be laughed at if they had a bit of it there right now, because I guarantee you, boy, there's some tasty.
I hope mine is as good as yours, sir, Bryce. Yours looks some good. That's the iron frying pan, my son. Iron frying pan, you can't go wrong.
Well, that's what I always said. Iron frying pan and scattered flanker, a bit of smoke. There's nothing better, sir.
Yep. That's right, boy. As I sit here in this wonderful setting, with the warm summer breeze blowing down the pond, the sounds of the songbirds around me, and the smell of the wild flowers, I can't help but think how lucky we are to have this remarkably unspoiled country. The scenery going up this pond is worth the trip, but we are here to see what the fishing is like. Will it be good enough to attract people to this area, especially over such bad roads? This sheltered cove looks good, and fishing conditions are perfect. I use a spinner with a tailbait, and on the second cast, Bryce hooks a good-sized fish. Native trout put up a great fight on light tackle, but after a few runs, they give up for a few seconds, and if you time it right, you can lift him in the boat without even using a net. But just watch this fish after he gets in the boat. This is a wananish. It's related to the salmon. And these landlocked fish put up a great fight. I prefer to fish with a light fly rod. You can't beat the action of a good-sized wananish on a light fly rod, especially in fast water. Last year I smoked some of these fish, and they were delicious. It looks like we've found the prime berth in this pond. We will soon have our daily limit of 20 pounds plus 2 fish. This is one of the best ponds I've ever fished for speckled trout. The average size fish is over 2 pounds. It looks like we're in for an evening of great fun. We have drifted around the point and into shallow water, and behind us is a large brook, and a steady that reaches way back into the marsh. I decide to paddle in and shoot some film. It's a beautiful, peaceful evening as we paddle in here. If a person isn't interested in fishing, he couldn't find better canoeing anywhere than in some of these waters. What a perfect way to spend an afternoon. We must get moving again because the sun is getting lower in the sky. And at sunset, that's the time for the big ones. As I sit and listen to the call of the loon winging home in the sunset, I can't help but think of the people of Indian Bay. With this great natural resource at their back door, there are people that would give a lot to be able to relax, camp, canoe, and oh yes, fish for these speckled beauties in the waters of Bonavista North. But for me, it's just another perfect day, added to the memories of time spent in this beautiful Newfoundland outdoors. Each year before the hunting season starts, we'd like to make one last trip for speckled trout. There was no problem deciding where to go, back to Indian Bay. We also wanted to film some wildlife in that area,
So through my camera, come along with us on that trip. My name is Lloyd Colburn, and welcome to Newfoundland Outdoors.
Hey, Colburn, you going to get out of bed this morning or what?
I'm up, boy. I'm coming out now. What you got on for breakfast this morning?
Oh, got a bit of bacon on, boy. A bit of bacon, a few beans to take, give you a good start for the morning.
Yeah, it was some cold last night, old man. I almost froze.
Yes, boy, the water froze in the kettle, sure. And the frost so heavy and the mist on the pond this morning, you can't see crossing.
I jumping, man. That looks some nice out there, don't it? Some warm, though. That nice fire there, Bryce. Boy, that's good. Gonna be cold out there this morning, though, boy.
Yeah, it'll be cold for a while, but it'll warm up after a while.
Yeah, we'll get some of that beans stuck to our ribs now. We'll get going. It's gonna be a good day for fishing, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
You know, I can't think of anything that will wake you up quicker than the splash of September pond water on your face, especially at 6 o'clock in the morning. This is my favorite time of the year to be out in the woods. The last 2 weeks of September will always find me somewhere on a pond or by a brook. It's the last chance to get some nice trout for the freezer. And it's nice to be able to go and pull out a couple of nice trout in December or January and throw them in the frying pan. And besides, it will be a long 7 months before we will be able to fish with rod and reel again. It's beautiful going up the pond this morning as the cold night air forms mist as it lies on the still warm water. We keep an eye on the shoreline. There's always a chance of seeing an old moose. There's always friendly competition between most anglers, so today is no exception. Bryce and I have a bet as to who's going to get the most fish, so we start our day with eagerness. Bryce, I think we'll go over by that island, old man, and fish it along that shore. It looks good over there.
Yes, boy, we're to try anyway, sure. The wind's dropping out a bit now, and on that lee shore, it might be something there,
Yeah, that's what it is, boy.
It's warming up now, boy. Can we soon time to take off that clothes? I told you this morning, we're going to warm up later on.
Yeah, boy, I got too much clothes on. But it was cold this morning, boy. I didn't know it was going to get as warm as that.
But that wind dropped out some sudden. There's not a draft. Now look, gone right flat camp.
Love a rain once.
I dare say. Yeah, well, down there now, it's likely to change. You're likely to get, she's clouding up, so you're likely to get snow yet before it's all over.
Yeah, up there to the southern it's clouding up. It'll probably be better for fishing, though, Bryce, boy, if it gets clouded over, not too bright.
Yeah, well, cloudy's always a bit better anyway. I last try a fly anyway in that calm water there. I don't see nothing breaching though. I don't suppose it's worth putting a fly on for.
Yeah, there's need a fly out, boy. I suppose it's only from the jump for it.
Yeah, I think I will, as I don't like eating them junks that they do across pond anyway.
Now, I'd rather catch one trout on a flying tin on a spinner anytime.
Yeah, it gets more action out of it anyway.
Now I'll just troll up the pond. You let the fly out. We'll troll the fly up and see what happens.
Yeah, we did that last year. I hooked a couple last year up off the point there that way.
By jumping Bryce, he's there, isn't he?
Yes, sir. Guarantee. Good one, too.
Not bad, but jumping that's a good fish. Don't lose that one.
Ah. Well, how much clothes you put on this morning at all?
Why, my sweater, my shirt, my jacket, everything I had up here in the camp this morning I put on.
Look out there, look, something just flies out there. What's that, you?
That's that old loon boy. Look at that. Look, that's the one I bet you was there last spring when we was up.
Yeah, she had a young one with her last spring.
Yeah, he must be around her somewhere, Bryce boy, because she's out. Look, she's trying to lead us away from him. Look, she's acting like she's crippled. Her look, he's there somewhere.
You follow her over there to see where she's going.
Nah, leave her alone. That's all right. We have a flick now. This looks as good a place as anywhere. Might be some trout around here.
It might be a good sign. The old loon might be a sign of good trout.
Yeah, we'll give her a flick. Oh, something up there, Bryce boy. There's something at it.
Well, is he a good one or what?
Not bad, boy. Not bad.
Not much life in him, but he must have died early.
No. Well, not too bad, I suppose.
Well, that's one apiece anyway. I'll get another one before the day is over, I know. I dare say I'll have more than you before it's over.
Yeah, some chance. We want to explore as much of the pond as possible, so we move on. Each lake has its own special spots, and with miles of water to cover in each pond, half the fun is looking. This also gives us a chance to explore the rocks and shoals in the pond. They're everywhere. When the glaciers receded in this area, it deposited boulders in all of these ponds, and it's no trouble to knock your blades off going up this pond, especially after dark. Bryce, is the same spot we was last spring, eh? Where we got them nice trout.
Yes, but I think that's what we'll name it too. Same spot. A wonderful place. We got a lot of trout here last year. Listen, I'm going to try that double spinner I bought and a few worms.
Yeah, throw them worms back, Bryce. I got nothing back here. You got all the worms up there.
You might if you says please.
Throw them back. That's a good one, Bryce. There's still some trout here, buddy. I got one all.
Yeah, I had one on here the last couple of minutes. I'm going to surprise you with.
That old thing, that's only all winning is sure. That's no good for nothing.
Boy, they still count, you know. What do you got, a whole another one?
Yes, sir. There's a nice one this time, buddy, I'll tell you.
You'll probably lose, eh? So, sure, I got one on now. Hold on now. Hold on, Coburn. I got a nibble.
Boy, there's some trout here, eh?
I got one on now, too. Mine's gone underneath the boat, but he's going to be in a wonderful snarl if he gets over near your line. I got mine. What is yours?
He dropped the so-and-so come off, boy. I had him right beside the boat. Never got dead under it in time.
Oh, yeah, I suppose he was a big one, too.
Oh, yes, you're going to be the hero today, Bryce. You're going to be the hero today. There's no doubt about that. the attractions of these trips, for me anyway, is to explore the woods and shoreline of these ponds. So I land Bryce on the beach and prepare to go across to a nice wooded area on the other side. There should be some wildlife there. It's the only area around this pond that has not been touched by forest fires. It's nice to be alone in the woods sometimes. You can really take your time and enjoy the things that may bore a companion. This little pond shows how a fire burnt down one side and left the other side untouched. In the grasses are signs of the fire with old charred stumps and roots everywhere. The first sound of wildlife, except the songbirds, is that of an old bittern. It's been a couple of years now since I've heard one. It's the little things that make me enjoy the outdoors. The flash of sunlight reflected through the marsh grasses. The swaying of pond reeds in the gentle breeze. The wild water grasses standing with their background of movement as the surface of the pond is rippled with just a breath of autumn wind. And always the beauty of nature's sights and sounds everywhere. Over there's a beaver house, and there's fresh cuttings everywhere. This pile of newly cut saplings will be his winter food. I'm always fascinated by the beaver, so I stop and enjoy a short pause by their pond. Grouse were introduced to our province only a few years ago. Now they've spread everywhere. They can be found now in almost every part of the island. Their almost perfect coloration makes them blend in so well with their background that it's almost impossible to see them when they're standing still. If you are quiet and don't make too much noise and can stay perfectly still for a little while, there's no problem seeing a rabbit. It just takes a little patience. And when they see that you mean them no harm, they just go on feeding. The only thing that gives this grouse away is his movement. This rabbit is getting a little nervous, but lets me get fairly close to him before he takes off. Watch this covey of grouse and see how they blend in so perfectly with their natural surroundings that they're almost invisible. I interrupt this moose feeding as I cut through a growth of birch between the two ponds. There's certainly no problem getting a moose up here to fall. The walk around this little pond has been most rewarding, but I have a bet on with Bryce, so I'd better get back to fishing. I dare say he's well ahead of me by now. He probably got our limit. How'd you make out with a trout, boy, when I was gone?
Well, I got a couple. I got a small one for breakfast tomorrow morning. One half decent size one.
That's the one I seen you catching there just when I come in there.
Yeah, what do you see yourself? Anything tall?
Oh, don't be talking, boy. There's plenty of stuff over in that woods over there, up around Wings Pond Brook there. I seen beaver and lots of grouse in there. Seen old moose.
They're right.
Time for us to get back to camp, isn't it?
Yes, but I dare say by the time we get things gathered up now, they're going to be dark.
When I clean trout, I always check the stomach content. This gives me a lot of information about their feeding habits. Most of the trout in these waters are full of smelt. On this trip, we noticed that there were very few trout jumping for flies, even though the conditions were perfect and the water was covered with small millers. Their main diet is smelt and sticklebacks. At one time, it was thought that sticklebacks actually kill trout by perforating the trout's stomach with their needle-like thorns. But trout actually thrive on a diet of sticklebacks, and today the Department of Fisheries are actually stocking ponds with these little thornbacks, just to feed the trout. Breaking camp is always a little hard to do, especially when the weather is so good. But we have to fish our way up the pond, and besides, Bryce and I still have that bet on. What a lovely catch of trout. They're in perfect condition. One of these will make a wonderful breakfast sometime around Christmas when you want something special.
Right, the way I get figured up now since this morning, I'm about 3 or 4 trout ahead of you.
Oh, yes, you're the winner, are you? I'll tell you what I'm going to do, buddy. I'm going to get the last trout of the season going home up here this evening.
You might, but not if I can cut your line, you won't get it.
Yes, I will, sir.
Well, you ain't got no hole.
Yes, I have got no, buddy. It's a good one, too.
There he comes off.
He's not coming off. I'm going to stay here all night to get this one.
See, he come off the hook though, didn't he? You just barely got in the boat.
I got him, though, didn't I?
You got him. He's a lovely trout, too.
Last trout of the season. Buddy, what I got? It's a perfect autumn afternoon as we head up the pond. The air is clear and fresh, and we've had a good couple of days on this trip. The real enjoyment for me is just to be surrounded by such marvelous scenery, unspoiled water, and to be able to breathe the clean, fresh air. This magnificent island of ours is one of the last remaining areas of the world that man has not yet had a chance to spoil in his mad pursuit for what he calls progress. But how will we put a value on these things that we take so much for granted? We will only realize their true value when they're gone. We must start now and look carefully at this great natural blessing and handle it with care. For what better thing to leave to our grandchildren than this wonderful Newfoundland outdoors?